All right, welcome. Today we're going to do a little forensic investigation into something that, well, it trips up a ton of New Yorkers. How to handle short-term disability income on your taxes. You might think it's simple, but trust me, one little mistake here can have some pretty huge financial consequences. So let's dive right in. Okay, here's our roadmap. We're going to start with the simple rule and why it's totally wrong. Then we'll get into the real rule, which is all about following the money. We'll decode the tax forms, talk about 2 critical audit traps, some hidden financial torpedoes, and finally, give you a 4-step action plan to get it all right.
All right, Section 1, the simple rule and why it's wrong. Let's kick things off with the advice you've probably heard a million times. And look, it sounds right, but it's dangerously incomplete.
So, here's the big question, right? Is your New York State short-term disability income actually taxable? And, if you're looking for a simple yes or no answer, you're not going to get one. It's way more complicated than that.
So, you've got the mainstream advice on one side. Hey, if your employer pays, it's taxable. If you pay, it's not. Simple enough, right? Wrong. That's just scratching the surface. The forensic reality, what the IRS actually cares about, is all about how those premiums were paid. Was it with pre-tax dollars or post-tax dollars? That little detail changes everything.
Okay, Section 2, the real rule, follow the money. So to cut through all this confusion, you really only need to remember one thing. One single rule.
And that rule is what we call the source rule. This is it. This is the key that unlocks the whole puzzle. The taxability of your benefits comes down to one thing and one thing only. Who paid the policy premiums, and did they use pre-tax or after-tax money? That's it. It's all about tracing the source of the funds. Now, this source rule creates 3 totally different scenarios. First, the easy one, tax-free. This happens if you paid 100% of the premium with your own after-tax dollars. The money was already taxed, so the benefit is yours, free and clear. Second, fully taxable. This is when your employer paid the premiums, or, and this is a big or, you paid them with pre-tax dollars, like through a cafeteria plan. And then there's the third one, which is super common here in New York, the mixed scenario. And this chart breaks down that mixed scenario perfectly. So let's just imagine your employer paid for 70% of the policy, and you paid the other 30% with your after-tax money. Well, guess what? Only 70% of the benefit you get is taxable. The 30% that you funded is tax-free. You literally have to calculate the taxable portion based on that split. All right, Section 3, decoding your tax forms. So now that we know the rule, let's look at the evidence. What does the paper trail look like? What forms are you actually going to get? You're going to see one of 2 things. You might get a Form W-2, where the taxable part of your benefits is just included as sick pay right there in Box 1, just like your regular wages. Easy enough. But if a third-party insurer sends you a Form 1099 MISC, well, that's when things can get really messy, and frankly, a little dangerous.
Which brings us to Section 4, 2 critical audit traps. Okay, this is where we really get into the heart of the investigation. Because it's one thing to get the form, it's a whole other thing to know what to do with it. Let's expose the 2 big mistakes that can trigger a nasty IRS audit.
So picture this. You get a 1099 MISC for your disability pay. Now what? You know it's income, but how you put it on your tax return is everything. And this is where trap number 1 lies in wait.
Here it is, the 1099 trap. This income is not self-employment income. I'm going to say that again. It is not self-employment income. So many people see 1099 and their brain just jumps to, I'm a contractor. They put it on a Schedule C and bam, they've just triggered self-employment tax. That's a huge, costly mistake. This is wage replacement, plain and simple. Okay, now for the second trap, and this one is a little sneakier. You look at your pay stub and you see a line that says disability deduction. And you think, great, I paid for it, so it's tax-free. But hold on, you have to ask a critical question. Was that deduction taken out before or after taxes were calculated? If it was a pre-tax contribution, the IRS treats it exactly the same as if your employer paid it, which means your benefits are fully taxable. Section 5, the hidden financial torpedoes. So you might think the worst that can happen is a bill from the IRS, right? Nope. Getting this wrong can launch a couple of other nasty financial torpedoes straight at your budget, and they hit especially hard if you're over 65. Okay, torpedo number 1. It targets your Social Security. See, when you report that disability income, it bumps up your adjusted gross income, or AGI. That higher AGI can then push what's called your provisional income over these surprisingly low thresholds, and once you cross that line, suddenly up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can become taxable too. It's a brutal domino effect.
And torpedo number 2 might be even worse. It's called the Medicare IRMAA Cliff. Your Medicare premiums are based on your income from 2 years prior. Now look at this table. Just $1, literally one single dollar of extra income can push you from Tier 1 into Tier 2. And what does that do? It adds over $1,000 a year to your Medicare Part B premiums. That's not a slope, my friends. That is a cliff, and it's a long way down.
All right, Section 6, your 4-step action plan. We've laid out the rules, we've looked at the evidence, we've identified the traps. Now, let's bring it all home with a simple 4-step plan you can use to nail this.
Here we go. Your forensic action plan. Step 1. Locate the form. Be patient, wait for that W-2 or 1099 MISC to show up. Don't even think about filing without it. Step 2. Verify your contributions. Call up HR. The magic question is, were my disability premiums paid pre-tax or post-tax? Don't guess. Step 3. Calculate the taxable amount. If you're in that mixed scenario, you've got to do the math and apply the employer-paid percentage. And finally, Step 4, report it correctly. If you got that 1099 MISC, make sure it goes under other income, not as business income on a Schedule C.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. You know the rules now, but does your tax preparer? Look, this stuff is complicated. The details are everything. You can do all your homework, but if the person you hand your documents to doesn't get these nuances, all your hard work could go down the drain. You have to make sure they're ready to be a forensic accountant, too.